So something very weird is happening with my computer right now. Can you guys hear me? That is the question that I have for you right now is, do you have the ability to actually hear me? Because things seem a little strange on my side. Um, Let me see. I'm waiting for somebody to respond to that inquiry. Maybe you can't hear me. Maybe. Okay. So thank you, Blue Wrench, Matt Woods, for the confirmation that you can't hear me. What's weird is that it is playing through my headphones and it is also playing externally to me, which is not the way that it actually works. Uh, that is throwing me off a little bit, but we are going to make some magic happen. First of all, Matt Woods, I appreciate you being here, Blue Wrench. Do not start off a conversation with your wife saying Reggie said. I've warned you people about this thing, and I'm gonna just keep throwing it out there. It does not work. It does not work. All right. So I was sitting downstairs just a few moments ago, sitting downstairs quite comfortably on the sofa, trying to relax and recover from a very stressful and long day at work. And a piece of news flashed across my computer, well, technically across my phone, that I was excited about, and I wanted to share with you all as well, and kind of ask the question as to whether you guys are excited about this like the way I am, and whether this has any ramifications on the value of maybe a franchise that has maybe been forgotten, potentially forgotten. I don't know. You guys will be the judge of it. I am definitely going to be interested to hear what you all think about this. The news just broke about 20 minutes ago that Apple TV is going to be releasing a TV series based upon Godzilla. And I don't know about you guys, but the last few Godzilla movies have been incredible. Godzilla versus Kong, oh man, so good that when I saw this news come across the screen, I'm like, this is what's up. So I immediately went over to Key Collector, because you guys know I'm a huge fan of Nick and Key Collector. And what I found in there with Godzilla was that back, I guess, in October of 2020, there was an anime, a Godzilla anime series in development for Netflix. I don't know if we ever saw that. I don't know if that thing has seen the light of day, but it appears that there is going to be a TV series now on the Apple Plus platform. And I think Apple is trying to compete with Amazon Prime and Netflix and all of the other platforms that are out there. And the question becomes, is this going to have any ramifications on the first ongoing Godzilla series that was published here in the US, or some of those other Godzilla books out there that exist? I don't know if this has the same impact that the Marvel movies has on comic book values, or if it is similar to what happens with the DC books, where movies and TV shows come out and it doesn't seem to have any correlation to the value of comics. So I don't know which way this thing is going to blow, but I wanted to share this news with you guys. And then I also will go through the article that was also found on comicbook.com. So it says, according to Deadline, this landmark deal would bring Legendary's pre-existing franchise, that being the Godzilla franchise, to Apple TV Plus. The untitled series will follow one family's journey through a world where titans exist, and they will come to discover the secret ties to Monarch along the way. At this point, there is no word on whether existing characters in the Godzilla films will carry into the show, but we know for sure the king of the monsters, that being Godzilla, will actually show up. They actually announce here who the executive producer is, some guy named Chris Black. Matt Fraction is the showrunner along with Black. There were some additional details in here. It says the report goes on to detail how this TV series was developed, as Legendary is riding on the high of Godzilla versus Kong. The movie was one of the first to excite the global box office in the post-COVID world. We used that term post-COVID, and we used it early on because we thought that eventually COVID was going to end. I don't know if there is such a thing as post-COVID versus just a COVID world. So writer, if you're listening to this, just get rid of the post-COVID and just go with the world or the COVID world, because it seems to be here to stay. Apple was said to have immediate interest in the pitch as a streaming service wants more established IP. I think Apple, the streaming platform, has done a couple of things with things like with C and the morning show. They have, what is it, 1883, which I think is incredible. If you guys haven't seen 1883, I encourage you to watch it. It's only one season. These are all shows with no established IP. They're like brand new shows. And so it kind of makes sense that they're looking for something a little more established. And the Godzilla franchise is not a bad one at all. They said, we first met this version of the monster, that being Godzilla, in 2014 with the self-titled film. King Kong joined the franchise in 2017 before Godzilla, King of the Monsters, dropped in 2019. And of course, Godzilla vs. Kong is the latest release that brought the IP total earnings to over $2 billion globally, which is redunculous. That is a lot of money. This thing goes on to talk about some other things here. Legendary saw an opportunity to get the best price by taking it to market rather than going straight to HBO Max. And from what I have heard, Apple was the front runner to land the series very early on in the process. So clearly these guys at Legendary are trying to maximize the opportunity. They are not just going with HBO Max, where I think King Kong and Godzilla were actually released. They shopped the deal around to get the best deal, the best bang for their buck, and it appears that it is going to land on the Apple Plus platform. No clue when this thing is actually going to see the light of day. As you guys know, some of these things happen, and it takes a little while before they actually materialize and show up on a screen, either big or small. So again, a pretty cool piece of news that I wanted to share with you guys. Let me go to the chat real quick to see if there's any thought. I'm saying it now, that the movie theater will no longer be as big as it used to be. Everyone wants their hands in the cookie jar. You know, I think that there's some truth to that, brother. But, you know, I would say to you this. People have spoken about the demise of the movie theater for a couple of decades, and it has not bore fruit, right? People have been talking about the demise of movies for like the last 10 years, and it has not happened. And I say, and I don't think that it will. I'm gonna just be completely honest. I don't think that it will. And I say that because the movie theater is a different experience. Like, I love watching movies on my sofa, right? The comfort of my house, I can pause it, but there is an experience that occurs at the movie theater that I do not think is matched by watching something in one's house. There is no shared experience that you get with the theater. So I think that, you know, will there be fewer people that go to the movies? I don't know. I really don't know. But I do not think movie theaters are going to go away. I think that if these movie houses continue to put out really awesome movies, people will continue to show up for them. And I think you look no further than the most recent Spider-Man movie as evidence of that, right? You put out a bad movie, you put out a bad comic, people don't show up. You put out good content, people will show up for it. And so only time will tell. I would just caution against, you know, praying for the demise of something just because it is people always love to predict. It does not always come to fruition. So if you take a big swing, you have to be prepared for a big miss as well. I will go out on a limb. I'm going to go out on a limb right now and say that if this movie happens, this will be a blockbuster. This is a $1 billion movie, Godzilla versus the Gibbon. One slight modification, the Gibbon versus Godzilla. No, I think you have it right. It is Godzilla versus Gibbon because we are the headliner. The Gibbon is the headliner. You have it. You have it right, my friend. So for those folks that are coming in a little bit later, wait a minute, there is a comment here. There's a comment here. So I don't think the Godzilla comic book market is tied to the movie market like comic book characters. Godzilla was a movie before a comic. I'm going to defer to you on that. I do not know. I do not know about that. I think you could be right, but I do not know for certainty. So I will defer to you on that, Matt Woods. And you could be right. You could be right that there is a disconnect. There could be a disconnect between a franchise in like movies and TV shows and the actual comics. You could be right in that there is not always this direct correlation. I mean, heck, even when DC releases something, as we've already talked about, it does not always have magic in terms of what happens with the value of the comics, right? It does not always happen. So it will be very interesting. So there was a good animated series out there pretty recently and it didn't move the needle. So there because one of the things that I saw on Key Collector app was that in 2020 there was supposed to be an anime. I don't recall seeing it, but I also don't watch anime and cartoons the way a lot of people do. So I may have missed it, but Cards and Comics is saying that potentially that anime that was rumored to come out in 2020 actually did come out. And if it did, thank you for the clarification there. Very helpful. Scrolling through, not much in regards to the comics because of Godzilla versus Kong and such, says Mac Sin City Collectibles. What is that? My books at CGC have been grading for longer than God. I will tell you, I do believe that there is I do think that there are comic collectors out there that like the Godzilla comics. Like just recently, I had someone try to buy a bunch of my Godzilla books. I did sell them some of my doubles and triples to kind of help them out because they were working on a run. But a lot of the number ones I actually held. I held a lot of the number ones because again, I think what was it? 1977 was when the first series came out. First ongoing series dropped in August of 1977. This was an iconic kind of cover right there. Iconic. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that. Nah, that looks like trash. That is complete trash. That's my bad for even attempting that. Scrolling through, Kevin, thank you, brother. I definitely appreciate it. Had an opportunity, if you guys haven't seen it, to sit down with Comic Tom. We did a 1-hour podcast that was interrupted by a food delivery. I don't think you guys saw that part of it. We paused for a hot minute and let the food guy in to get that. And then we continued the discussion. But we discussed a wide range of topics during that time together. And I'm very thankful for the opportunity to chat with Tom. I think we recorded 5 different pieces of content that you guys will see at some point. I have no clue how he's actually going to release it. So scrolling through, Deuce's boy is shouting out his do-it-yourself action here. He says he built a home theater for his father, 125-inch screen, Dolby atmosphere sound. I love it, brother. I love it. But again, my point was not just the presentation of the movie, but it is also, again, that shared experience. And I'm not a person that goes to a lot of movies, but there are a lot of people that absolutely love movies. And I think part of what they love about it is the immersion that comes with it that you probably get from a massive screen like that in surround sound. But what's also missing potentially for some people is the shared experience of going to a theater, the smell of overpriced popcorn in the air, the oversized pop that you buy for way too much money, and the fact that you're sitting there surrounded by other people, hoping that they stop breathing loud and all that good stuff. There's some magic, I think, that happens inside of movie theaters. Scrolling through, Mass Snow says, I have 150 books at CGC, will not see them until 2024. I hope that the value is still there for you, brother. We have a video dropping in about 28 minutes here on the YouTube. I hope you guys will check it out. It will take, there's a comment here, it will take some time for the theater to go away. Yes, the pandemic affects now and streaming at home is more convenient, but this pandemic might not affect the movie industry, says Comics. Scrolling through some of the comments here, seeing what else you guys are talking about. That's the guy. The God-given truth. Well done, sir. Well done. Simon, how you doing, brother? My man Ricardo is back. He is back for a second time. So I called my mother. Yesterday was my mother's birthday. I called her. She said to me, I'm glad that you no, the first time I called her, she said, can I call you back? So I'm like, woo, okay, I might be in trouble. She then calls me back like an hour later. And she's like, I'm glad you called. You made it by the skin of your teeth. I'm like, so first of all, the day is not even close to being over. But I know you go to bed at like 7:30. I mean, she goes to bed pretty early. But we did have an opportunity to chat for a couple of minutes. When I called her the first time, she was actually in church service, so she would not talk to me, which I completely get. But she had a very, very good day. And shout out to you, Ricardo, for remembering. I think that this is now your second live stream. Yesterday was your first. It is good to see you, brother. You are on a roll. What is that? Did you see the comics on VV app? I finally was able to log back into VV app. And what I saw when I logged into VV app was that some of the comics that I bought early on they are being sold for more than what I bought. I actually have a Spider-Man statue that seems to be going, like, the asking price that I saw was like $4,000. I think it was $4,000, which is ridiculous. I paid, I don't know, not that much, which I just think it's a lot. I think it's a lot. Scrolling through some of the comments here, seeing what else you guys are talking about. For those folks that may have come in a little bit late, I just shared the news that there is a new show, a new TV series that has been announced for the Disney Plus, for the Apple Plus platform. It is specifically a Godzilla show that will follow one family's journey through a world where Titans exist, and they will learn all about Monarch and about Godzilla and other very large creatures. So pretty interesting thing here. This Godzilla TV series. I am excited about it. I am a huge fan of the whole Godzilla, the new Godzilla franchise. I'm excited to see what they do with this TV show. I think that the quality of the shows on the Apple Plus platform are pretty darn high. I've watched a lot of the stuff that's on Apple Plus, and I think it's pretty solid. I think that there's pretty solid stuff there. I enjoy and 1883, I think, is the one that I just finished most recently watching. I thought it was pretty solid. So now we are going to be getting some Godzilla here soon. So scrolling through, Reggie, you forgot to play. Oh, I did forget about the pleasures of the sticky floors. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a reason why I don't go to the theater. And part of it is the sticky floor. Part of it is the sticky floors. I will tell you, Spider-Man movie proved that movie theaters are not going away. Again, I will say it again, that I think that whether it be a comic, a movie, a TV show, a CD, or whatever they call music these days, if you put out some good content, people will show up to support it. You know what I'm saying? And I struggle with the prediction of the demise of an industry that is proven to be resilient time and time again. And I would say that I think the movie industry has proven its resilience in the face of a lot of challenges. A lot of challenges have come along, and they are still here making some interesting money. So scrolling down through some of the comments here, scrolling through some of the comments here. I'm having trouble logging into VV. Bought 2 NFT books last summer, ASM1 and FF1. Now I don't know what they're going for. Brother, I was locked out of mine for months. No, that's probably not accurate. It's probably been a month and some change. But my FF4, my Marvel Comics 1, and my statue of Spider-Man have all gone up. At least that's what it appears, based upon the asking prices, because I don't know if you can see what's sold. I think you can see what people are selling things for, and my assumption is that that is the value, but that's probably not a safe assumption, but that is what I'm going to go with for this moment right here. The only problem with VV for now is that you cannot convert the gems into USD. I think that they are actually working on that. I want to say that they are moving over to the Ethereum platform, and when that move happens over, they're also going to coincide it with some other like financial documents or something like that will, or some financial process that will allow you to convert your gems out. I did see somebody on Instagram just yesterday that was actually selling some of their gems. They have gems that they are selling for a discount. in order to convert them to cash, which I think that's interesting. I think that that is interesting that someone would do that. Just shows that they actually want to get out and they want to do something with the money, and there is no escape. So VV is something that I've spoken about probably 4 or 5 months ago. It is a platform for buying NFT, non-fungible tokens. They are the ones that are offering a lot of the Marvel non-fungible tokens, both collectibles, i.e. statues, as well as actual NFTs of comics. They are rolling out, it feels like, at least 2 NFT comics per week. I think most recently it was like Kraven's The Last Hunt. They were doing a couple of Kraven's The Last Hunt. One of the early ones was Marvel Comics. Marvel Comics issue #1 was one of the early ones. That was one of my early purchases on the VV app. You can download it on the on whatever platform you choose based upon the phone that you have. So C is a great show. Yes, indeed it is. Scrolling through some of the comments. That does indeed that yes, we're just got my guy, rolled the dice for 2, and what is that? Hold on, wait a minute. Just got my guy, got rolled to the dice, and the 2 trade dress. 2 trade dress is what Steve Conge, brother, I don't control it, Steve Conge. It is the luck of the draw, Steve Conge. But I am very pleased to hear that people are receiving copies of the guide. The second print are starting to be received by everybody across the country, and I find that exciting. There's a couple of moments, and I said this on Instagram earlier today, there's a couple of moments that you go through where you're like, this is cool. The first moment is when you get your copy. As one of the people that wrote it, the other is Doug, and he's here in the room. When you get that copy in your hand, that is a moment of like excitement and joy. The second moment is when all the orders that have been placed finally leave your house. That is a moment to celebrate because you're like, it's over, it's done. Then the next moment is when people actually receive their copy, and they start to give you the reactions to what they see, to what they read. That is another inflection point for me. And so people are starting to receive their copies. I've received a couple of emails and DMs today already from folks. So I'm very pleased that folks are starting to get them because at the end of the day, man, Doug and I put this stuff together for people to enjoy, for people to be able to read, to learn from, to whatever, to get ahead of the curve. And so it doesn't do us any good until it actually gets out there. So let me see, scrolling through, went to watch a video and found the live stream. How about that? So brother, I'm gonna be honest with you. There is nothing more gross than sticky hair. Okay, so the gibbon is probably not going to be anywhere near a sticky mess of syrup and popcorn that builds up on the floors of movie theaters. I'm gonna just go out and say that right now that that's not going to happen. The guide is indeed sold out. So a little bit of background here real quick. We received a ton of orders. We processed through the orders. We, of course, ordered a little bit more to account for damages. Thankfully, the printer was trying to earn my business and actually fixed all of the damaged books, or gave me some supplemental copies that they had to the side. So they gave me all of those, destroyed all of the extra copies. And what I did is I offered 10 copies up last night during the live stream that we did yesterday. Before that live stream was over, I discovered that all 10 had actually sold. I have a few more in my possession. We are going to wait for the 400 or whatever orders, books that are in float right now to reach their final destination. And potentially next Wednesday or next Sunday, I will then, during the live stream, announce the availability of additional books, and those books will be made available publicly. I have a lot of people that are offering lots of money to buy copies, and I do not think that that's fair. We are going to continue to release things in a fair manner. So I would encourage you, if you did not get a copy, there's a couple of ways to still get it. By now, is it 3, 4, 5? Yeah, it's too late now. Comic Tom actually had copies available of the first print through his mystery mail call, but I think the cutoff was 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. JAF Comics in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania actually has 20 copies that are en route to them. So you may want to reach out to them. JAF and comics in Pennsylvania. The other way is to tune in to the next Wednesday and Thursday live stream here on the channel for an opportunity to get some books. And then I also will have 24 signed copies potentially made available as soon as CGC sends them back to me. I am assuming that 24 of them will receive a 9.8. So stay tuned for some additional details on that. Yeah. And the reason for that is because the print count was 450. I am going to hold to that print count of 450. I believe in transparency and honesty, and we are going to continue to rock with that. Scrolling. Reggie got me Googling the word inflection point. Brother, I'm going to tell you, I can't spell to save my life, but I can say some words, okay? I can string together some sentences, my friend. Steve, I better not see you slinging my book on the side. You gotta do what you gotta do here, okay? You gotta do what you gotta do. I don't get involved in this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I did have a wonderful conversation with Doug just the other day, and we were strategizing and thinking about, you know, what went well and even better if for things that may come in the future. And so we did like this whole debrief on, you know, the first and second print and how we could do things differently and better should we choose to do this in the future. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful conversation. He's a great thought partner, and I definitely appreciate him. So yeah, people didn't get excited about 450, but when I said 420, for some strange reason, they were like, oh, 420. I don't know what the deal is. Scrolling through. Yeah. So here, let me recap, and then we are going to wrap this thing down, wrap this thing up. Man, if I am a man, you may see it on what is that app? Whatnot, the 1 minute auctions. People are going to be on there slinging guides. All right, so one more time for the folks that came in a little late, there was some news that broke shortly before I jumped on here to go live, that there is a Apple Plus Godzilla TV show in development. And this thing is coming from the folks that made the various Godzilla movies that started back in 2014. They basically were shopping a deal around Apple TV, jumped on it, and now it looks like this thing is going to come to fruition. We do not know when. So an untitled series, TV series that is, will follow one family's journey through a world where titans exist, and they come to discover their secret ties to Monarch along the way. And so again, there is no details on when we're going to see this thing or any of that other kind of stuff. But these folks were pitching this idea, and it looks like Apple TV has bitten, and Apple TV wants a more established type of IP. And the films that have been released for Godzilla over the last couple of years, this IP has grossed $2 billion. So I would say that that's some pretty established IP. And the big question that I was kind of asking was, oh, should we expect to see some value changes with Godzilla comics? And so I actually pulled up here, Go Collect. I did not do this earlier, so we'll do it now. Here are some of the values for Go Collect. You can see that a 9.8 has an FMV of $350. Its 1 year average was 526. Its 90-day average 565, and its 30-day average is $546. So definitely some interesting things that are happening with this. It has been high for about a year and seems to be holding on pretty strong. It looks like the FMV has not necessarily been adjusted for some reason by Go Collect. The data shows us here that on the census there are 489 9.8s and 283 sales of a 9.8. I'm guessing over some period of time. I don't know exactly what that period of time is, but you can see here that there is a precipitous fall off from a 9.8 to a 9.6. Precipitous means dramatic and sudden. You can see here that as you go from a 9.8 at $546, the 30-day drops to about $175. So there seems to be a little bit of decline here with the 9.6, it's 1 year is $220, its 30-day is $175, its FMV is $180, which makes a little more sense there. The 9.8 is a little confounding with that FMV and the higher price here on this other end, but it kind of continues to drop off with the exception of 9.4, which again doesn't make good sense because it's $183, which is a little bit higher than 9.6, but we'd have to dig into to see what that looks like. But some pretty interesting stuff. It will be interesting to see what happens with this comic from 1977, whether we see some movement in value as a result of what is actually happening with this TV show that has been announced. There were some comments in here that folks do not expect there to be a change in value just because there's been a lot that has happened with Godzilla over the decades. And I think Matt Woods kind of pointed this out. So only time will tell whether some magic actually happens here, but I definitely wanted to share that with you guys. So what is that, dude? You're killing me. I'm actually going to be in Bethlehem tomorrow, and JAF Comics closed on Fridays. I would encourage you, Kevin, to message them, call them, or DM them on Instagram. And I say that because they only have 20 copies, and I know for a fact that several people have already reached out to the shop. Probably, I don't know if they reached out to John directly, the owner, but do not wait, brother. If you want a copy, I would encourage you to not wait. All right. So with that, we Steve, brother, I can't spell, and my math skills, despite my MBA, are not great, but my reading comprehension and my vocabulary, brother, are pretty good. They are pretty good. Okay. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. This went a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I definitely appreciate you guys kicking it with me for a little bit. If you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.